In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the board game MotherShip. This is by Peter Sanderson.
Yes, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so let's check that out now. Ooh. This one was actually done as a Kickstarter. Alright, but
Some time ago, apparently.
Yeah. So it obviously is successful because here it is.
Yeah.
This one was sent to us, so we are sort of doing a bit of an unboxing and a small review. We played a couple of games.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, but we're going to be honest with you about how it is. So this one is for 2 to 6 players, and it's about, there's a number of ways you can play it. We just played the deathmatch, I think it was called.
Deathmatch.
Yep. So you just start with everything, and you can't rebuild, and
you don't get to respawn or anything like that. You just go in and kill everything.
So I think they say it's, I don't know, half an hour per player or something. But
it's like any board game. When you're learning the rules, it takes forever.
Yeah.
But once you get the hang of stuff, it all slowly speeds up. Yeah.
So they do have some how to play videos on their website, so you can go check that out. We might see if we can put a link somewhere in the description down the bottom or something.
Stuff there. Yeah. Computer things.
But so there are some expansions for this already, but this is, which we'll get to, but this is the main box here. So let's have a look, shall we?
Let's have a squizzaroo.
There we go.
We've got rule book.
So I'll grab that one.
Which I'm going to hang on to because I got to remember how to play.
So you can actually, I'll show this in a second, customize the game board, and in the rule book there's a number of sort of setups that you can do, but it comes with this. So it's double-sided.
Yeah.
Took my eye out.
Steady. End up with the mother of all paper cuts.
Yeah. So same thing. Just
Basically
textures,
just a space
different
map.
colours and things like that. So yeah.
And then you adjust it with the asteroidal things that you get in the bag there.
Yeah. So there's all different shapes. So they do recommend, and it is set up so as it's equal setup for all parties involved.
So you can make it symmetrical, and then hopefully that means that it will be even.
So it just sort of sits on there like that. So
for everybody.
So under the rules asteroid field, your units can get attacked essentially, trying to go through it and things like that. So
so you can go through it, but you've got a possibility for taking damage. Yeah. So it kind of like breaks up the battlefield sort of thing. You're not just driving straight at each other and hurting everybody, but you know, it makes it interesting. So what do we got there? Ooh. Tech mats.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that with everyone.
So this is actually pretty cool. So they've got different resources in the game, and you use those resources mostly to upgrade. You've also got this little tech tree thing. I'll whack one of them under there in a sec. And you're spending, what was that one? That was minerals, wasn't it?
Correct.
Yep. So you're spending your minerals at certain points in your turn, and you can move a little counter thing along this tech tree. And you'll see there about on the third one, each tech tree splits off, and you have to pick one branch. You're not allowed to do like a bit of each. You have to follow one branch only. And there's some really powerful abilities at the end, but there's also some really cool stuff towards the beginning, and then trying to pick one side of each tech tree to go down is interesting.
Yeah.
Especially if you pick one and then somebody does something dumb that wipes out your ability to actually use that ability. Not mentioning any names.
Not mentioning any names.
To you.
But I like it. It's cool.
That's very. I've always liked that sort of stuff in like RPGs and dungeon crawls and things like that, where you have skills, tech, that sort of thing, like your civilization style upgrade system. It's really fun, really interesting.
So you get resources a number of ways, but the main one is through capturing planets. So this is a little.
You get little planets
like that. Yeah, on the stand. So they do come off. You don't have to glue them or anything. They just.
Snap on and off.
Yep. So if you hold a planet at the end of your turn, it gives you one resource.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's a mineral planet that's under the camera there.
Yeah. They also have gas, which you can use for other purposes.
Yeah, there are other things that you use gas for, but mostly it's just for buffing dice rolls.
Yeah.
So some of your ships they run on gas. So you pump gas into it and it hits harder.
And it does, it can do more damage. The mothership, because it's called mothership because it sort of centers around a central, a central ship that every player gets, which can do a lot of other things. So.
Yeah. So you got a mineral planet, and then you have your...
So you take that one and have a talk about this. I'll put this in front. So this is your control panel.
Control panel.
We know what
there
we're
you
talking
go.
about.
Yeah.
So that's it there. So each player gets one of these. Across the top here, the blue ones at the top, those are for your mothership.
Yep.
Okay, and you get a certain amount of little counters as
you get 15 little energy cubes.
Yeah.
So it's indented. You might not be able to tell that, but it is actually indented in there. And you get the little energy cubes, and you can put them in the little indents, and it's like a Star Trek type thing, you know. Push all the energy to shields, or put all the energy in the warp engines.
All to phasers and whatnot.
Put it all to phasers. We're becoming peace.
So so however many you've put across the top to each section or whatever's covered.
Yep.
The last one, that's the number it's going to be. So this one is speed. So the mothership, if that's covered up to there, you can move 4 hexes.
Yep.
There's no facings or anything like this. You just move.
Yep. And so you have a few different ship types, but when you move your mothership, the first thing you have to do is decide where your energy is going. And you have to do that before you move. And that can lead to some really silly stuff because you have to decide where that's going, and then until you move that ship again, that's where it stays. So if you don't put enough into shields and somebody comes along and hits you, you'll end up dead. If you don't put enough into engines and you need to get away from somewhere, then you're stuffed. But the first red one under there with the spanner next to it is the health points for the mothership.
Yep.
And then the bottom red one there is your colony ship, which is basically a static arc type thing that you're protecting.
It's your home base, I guess you could call it.
Yep.
You know, everyone's there, all the happy families, and you're trying to keep them safe from everybody else.
Dear.
So you'll find on the tech tree or whatever has a lot of sections on there that actually boost the mothership abilities.
Yeah,
Makes
so
the mothership more versatile, stronger, faster, all that sort of thing.
Mainly towards, especially towards the very end. Pretty much every single one of the end tech items is related to your mothership. So it'll give your mothership like a huge boost to resource production, or a huge boost to attack, or the ability to go further, or teleport other units, or something like that. There's a nuke. You can get a nuke for your mothership. But that's basically all of the last row of the tech. I don't think very many of the others actually influence the mothership at all. They do influence your ability with combat, resource generation, defense, and movement type stuff a little bit. But once you get towards the end here, which is fairly expensive, you get some really super duper mothership abilities. So pushing towards that's a good move. We've also got...
So these are pretty handy. Each player gets a little guide on how to play, like quick tips.
Yep.
So it's all, so when you're learning and things like that, it's all there.
And once you've read the rules a few times and gone backwards and forwards, those sort of things are really, they don't have to be full on text. They just need to tell you, like, give you enough to click you back into, oh yeah, that's what I have to do, right? Okay, yeah. So once you go through it a few times, these are gold. These are really good.
So they also have cards, which you start with. They're called action cards.
Yep.
So they're all a bit different, but they look like that on the top. If you have a look here, so they'll have a description up the top of what it is. This is how many resources you can gain back if you trade it in.
Yep.
Okay. And it just tells you what it actually gives you here. And you can play these whenever it says it's appropriate.
Yeah.
It's usually
it's your turn
or some sort of defensive reaction thing. There's another one. What's this? Vault switch. So that one gives gas instead of resources.
Yeah. So some of them will be mineral, some of them will be gas, and you can trade them in at the end. I think it's the end of your turn. You're allowed to trade in X number of those, as many as you want, and get the resources instead.
If you want to bump up your tech tree and
that's a good way to start.
That's when you do it. So they give you there's a whole bunch of those. So there's lots of variety and all different things. A lot of them have little writings down the bottom that are funny. There's a lot of little humour in this game. I really, really like it.
You get a bit of a chuckle every now and then just looking at the cards.
There's one rule that we didn't play with, but we will play with it. You can also have artifacts on a planet.
Yep.
So when you search it, and these are the cards here, but they do things. What's this one? Alien Skull. +1 defense, planet defense when defending a capture on any planet you control. So if you control a planet and someone's trying to capture it from you,
the alien
if
skull.
the alien skull's on there, it makes your defense better. So all these little things, there's a bunch of them. So they're quite good. But we'll show you the ships and everything. So the way the box is actually designed, you can it's got little grooves in there where you can push all some of the pieces have fallen off there, but you can see that they just sit nicely in the box there. So you just pick a colour and you can just pop them all out. Probably one thing I would have looked at was, because they sit in there and it's okay, but they can be a little tight to get out, and you're probably a little worried
to get out.
Sometimes. You're worried that you might actually break it. We haven't done it yet.
Big fat fingers, and you're trying to dig in there and get one little ship out.
Yeah.
But that's a little niggle.
Yeah, that's right.
But,
probably something like a slider or something you could. So it's got a gap, so it goes right over where the bars would stick up, but it holds it in place.
Holds it
something
down.
Like that would be good.
Yep.
So they give you plenty of room for all your counters, and so each player has their own little colour things they can put onto their planets that they capture and whatever else.
So what, like 5 colours?
There's 6, of course, because you've got 6 players in here. Little counters. So there's different dice. So D6s, D4s.
So you start with basically an RPG set of dice, except for the 20. You've got a 4, an 8, well, a 4, a 6, an 8, a 12, and a 10. And they're your combat dice. So when you're in combat with the various ships, they all have a specific dice that they roll as their attack defense mechanism.
Yeah.
And it can get really interesting when you try and take on something that's rolling a D12 with 3D6 and you screw it up.
So there's different types of units. So this round one here, that's your home base.
That's your colony station.
Colony station. Yep. So then you've got your motherships, the big ones here. Then you have bombers.
Yep.
So bombers, they're used to essentially go after the colony ships.
Yeah.
And
so
the planets.
On your little control panel there, you've got each of the ships listed, and it tells you what they can and cannot attack. So fighters can damage other fighters, bombers, shields, planets, and guardians, but they can't hit hull points, which is these. So they can't attack a colony ship and they can't attack a mothership. Well, they can. They just won't damage it.
It just won't do anything. Yeah.
And your bombers are basically for hitting hulls and planets. They damage hull points, shields, planets, and guardians, but they can't do fighters or bombers.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Which, speaking of the fighters, so those
that's the little like ones.
Yeah. So they're probably the fastest, other than the mothership, I believe. They have engine 4, so they can move 4.
Yep.
On your tech tree, both bombers and fighters can have their base speed increase depending on which way you go with it.
Yep. And their attack and defense, which is really cool. And then you should have
Guardians.
As
well.
Yes.
Which are sort of deployed in space. They're like gun turrets, gun turrets defense.
You have to research the ability to be able to put them down, but then you can use them to guard, hence the name, various installations. So as soon as something moves past one of them, it gets to shoot that thing. And it's surprisingly effective sometimes. They're pretty good.
If they're next to a planet, or in fact if there's any units that are
Yep.
to a planet,
Yep.
and it's your planet that you own,
Yep.
they're essentially guarding it.
So you have to be destroyed.
You have
before
to
you
get
can
rid of
attack the
everything
planet.
else before you can go after the
Yep.
planet. So there are some ways to get around it as you take tree up. But
The Guardians can also guard a colony station, which you can't do with like fighters and bombers and things. The Guardian can be deployed next to that station, and then if anybody tries to attack the station, they have to kill the Guardian first, which is kind of cool.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because they get attacked a lot. At least in our games, anyway.
But it's, yeah, we found it to play quite good. Like understanding how the mothership power distribution works was key to begin with,
Yes.
for sure.
Yeah, because we buggered that up the first couple of games. It was, it's interesting.
Well, you think, oh, mothership, you know, super powerful and that sort of thing, and
Yeah.
it is to a degree, but it's like anything, if you can get enough units on top of it.
It will die. It will
yeah.
die very, very badly as well.
Because they do have dog fights and whatever else, you can pull all your dice and then you basically add up everything, and it's whoever rolls the highest, you know,
Yeah.
they're going to be doing damage to the other guy. So
Yeah, and it's not a case of whoever does the highest does that minus whatever you rolled. It's not a defensive thing. You're deciding who gets what. So if you roll the highest, then all of that damage gets applied. And it's, yeah, it can be devastating if you do it properly.
absolutely,
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
you've done a few times.
And well, it's happened to me as well.
Yep.
Phillips wiped out a mothership, even if it had lots of defense and things like that. But yeah, there's only so much power you can put into shields. If you've watched Star Trek, you know how that goes.
You get all fitzes and things all over the place, and Scotty runs around screaming.
Everyone starts throwing themselves onto the floor and all that sort
Yeah.
of thing. Yeah, but that's it. So, but it's good because up to six players, and it doesn't take up like a lot of space, even though everyone's got their own little like tech tree and board like that. So
Yeah, but even with the boards and things that you've got, you don't need a lot of space to have an area that you can use. Like, so you'd have one of these around for each person, and all your little bits and pieces in between. I reckon you could get 6 people playing that easy.
Oh, yeah.
And that'd be cool. Because we played 3-player games, and it's been fun. It's been a really good game. There's a few little rule bits that it's worth like someone going through and reading and just trying to figure out properly, because we had a couple of things where it just slowed down completely because we were trying to figure something out. But once you get the hang of it, like any board game, once you get the hang of it, it's fine.
yeah.
It's really fun.
So they also sent us some expansions as well. So
Thank you.
bring those over. We'll have a little look-see. So these are currently available. All right. So this one is Into the Vortex. So this one focuses on you can specialize your fleet with class cards that equip your ships with technology that's unique to you. So it changes it up a little bit there as well.
I like that.
There's also things like wormholes, so it links multiple points on the board together.
Yeah.
That can be dangerous if you're off attacking and suddenly an enemy fleet just wormholes straight next to you. Colony.
Yeah, I can see that going
Wow.
bad very, very quickly.
But that's quite good. So I'll show you a picture there. Just add some little elements, and they're not that expensive to buy these. And if like I'm so glad that they sent them to us, because they're really good.
Yeah.
So there's that one, and we've got also Call of the Void. Show you that one there. So this one here has like little pick a path mission. There's like little missions, so you can hear like little radio frequencies. You go off and explore what's going on, and you
Distress signals
Distress
and
signals,
stuff.
yeah. Respond to distress beacons and engage in 60 small short missions. So you decide on one of 2 possible outcomes. So you can risk versus reward, essentially. You have a chance to get some extra resources or some sort of technology. But yeah, there's a downside. There's a lot of cool stuff. Ooh,
Yeah.
black holes and neutron stars and all that. And it's the same thing. It's just these templates that you put down, and you just make sure it's all nice and even for everybody. And really good. But I really like that.
it.
Yeah, I like that. And they do have, and they did send it to us, as an expansion to make it up to 8 players.
Ooh,
So
yeah.
it gives you a board extension to the main board, so it gives you more play area.
We're going to have to try that, you know.
And all the, well, I have to get some more people together and have a game. But yeah, so up to 8 players. That's cool.
Which is madness.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's just madness. I can see that going, because we've only played deathmatch. So there's deathmatch, which is basically you are trying to wipe the other guy out. If you wipe out all of their ships, or if you wipe out their colony ship, I think is the way it works.
The colony ship's the main one. If you get that,
if you kill that, then all of their other ships go away. Yeah, but if you lose all of your motherships, fighters, and bombers, then you're out of the game as well. So you either kill the colony station or you kill all the other ships, one or the other. Right, and that's the only version we've played. They've also got a victory point mode where you get points for various kills, but you are allowed to respawn your destroyed units. In deathmatch, you don't get to respawn anything. Once you've lost it, it's gone, right? And just playing that with 3 players it's been fairly full on, actually. I have to say, we've had some nail-biting games.
With 3 players, there's a bit of negotiating because someone's going to get a bit too powerful too quickly and things like that. But
there's the Catan syndrome where one person is obviously winning, so you all gang up on them. And I think with 6 or 8 players, that could get fun. We're going to have to try that.
Yeah. So
Nice.
that's it. So I do like it. I did enjoy it. I found the quality of the components to be very good. When I saw the plastic, I'm like, oh, especially when we're talking about they might break or whatever. But
that was the thing that got me was trying to pull the little things out of the clips, and that was just big fingers, and I have a tendency to break little tiny plastic things. But
the pieces have a little bit of flex to them.
Yeah.
So I think they will actually be okay. So that's a good little design feature that they added there.
yeah, I reckon. But I mean, it's a really good game, and I, for one, would like to say thank you to whoever sent that to us.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that's freaking awesome.
So yes, I give it a thumbs up. I really like it. I do.
Dose.
And it's good to actually, again, like we've actually talked about a lot of Australian games designed and built and whatever else, but this adds to that. So it's 3 for 3 so far for us. We haven't sort of been doing a lot of board game, card game reviews of Aussie stuff, but
No,
3 for 3 has been really good.
Yeah, I reckon that they've all been good so far. Yeah, we're going to be definitely playing more games, and if you can get yourself a copy, go for it. I'm peeved that I missed out on the Kickstarter.
But you can get it. But we'll play with this one until you get your own.
I was going to say, we'll just play.
All right.
All good.
Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.
Bye, guys.